Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Love Fridge. This is our town hall. We're doing a monthly, and this special one, we're honoring our hosts, our co-hosts that we build with. We have four, and we're starting off with James, who is a co-founder and also has a flagship property fridge, the Love Shack, over in Little Village. So yeah, I want to definitely start off with him. He's also lead team builder with construction and putting shelters on the fridges and things like that, which are really important for us to sustain for winter and so much more. So yeah, welcome everyone. And James, how's it going?
I'm all right. Thank you very much. And thank you, Ramon, for pulling us together, and Velma as well for organizing all this. Hi, everyone. I'm James, and that's right. I do host the first fridge in that we were able to get going. When I say the first fridge, the second fridge was like 2 days later. Ramon, I believe, started sharing, on Instagram about the Friendly Fridge program, perhaps out of Brooklyn.
It was
my bad. What's that?
Yeah.
He started sharing about these fridge things, and then that kind of sparked the Love Fridge, as I understand, Ramon, on Instagram. And I was friends with some other people who were following along, and the premise was so straightforward. Like I had a fridge in my garage, and my garage has a significant element of facing the sidewalk, and I can position this fridge so it's still on my property but facing the sidewalk, very accessible. And I was like, this is simple as it gets, right? I can make my fridge available for anyone to use under this model. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it does, I can do this. And that was as straightforward as it was for me, was to roll my fridge out to the sidewalk. I was in contact with the Love Fridge, and I said, I want to get this going, and I want to work with you guys and see if we can get this show on the road. And that's for me, that's how easy it was. But fortunately, we kind of became a structure and an organization, this mutual aid group, where we can also work with other people who had the ability, with the fridge and with a place to host it, or we can, align people. There's someone who wants to host a fridge, and there's someone who can physically support the location, and then there's other people who can coordinate what it takes to keep it stocked, or get engaged with the community so that more people understand that fridge is there and accessible, but also there to be contributed to. And so, as a host, I knew I was taking on kind of a lot of things. I knew that I already had a lot of street traffic, which is great. I'm on 21st Street. It's a very popular street that runs through Pilsen and Little Village. And so I knew it'd be I didn't know it would be a hot spot. I didn't know when I put that fridge up, I didn't know if anyone was going to take anything. It seemed weird. It is weird, but now we all know, anyone in the Love Fridge, that you can fill a fridge up and it'll be empty in an hour. And so along with that traffic of getting food to people, within that hour, there's still just like a lot of people donate boxes of food. There's a lot of boxes that get left over. People taking loose produce, there's like a vegetation that gets left behind, salad cast-offs and carrot tops and things like that. And that's cool, and so it's still my sidewalk, which I take care to keep clear. Like the winter is actually my time because I love shoveling the sidewalk. But now in the spring and the summer, I'm also generally pretty good about sweeping up, the trash. But so I also keep up to make sure that anything cast off from the fridge is also properly collected. And it can be a high volume day, or it can be like a low volume day. Generally, things are fine. No one wants to trash the thing. I've never been concerned about vandalism, and I don't believe we've ever actually had a vandalism issue. But it's like I think when you think of like the park or the beach, no one wants to dirty the place up or leave trash behind, but things happen. And knowing that I'm the host, I'm someone who just knows to kind of pick up after that. But I don't do it on my own. Being a part of the Love Fridge means that we have fridge managers. We have an army of volunteers, people who love who share the mission of the Love Fridge, that come by to clean the fridge, to check on the surrounding area, to move things into the alley as they need be. I don't think I could do it on my own, and I don't have to do it alone. And I have the benefit of my community, that of my neighbors, but also the fridge managers of the group within the Love Fridge, that I get to work with them. And then that means I also get to help out with other fridges. And so that's why it's important to me that I'm able to help build other shelters. I can do spot checks if there's maintenance issues. I used to call it a triangle because it was 3, but now, like, I like to visit Stone Temple because it's right down the street from me on Douglas. I go to I'm going to say Mariano's, but it's Moreno's, and La Roca, and it's neat to have this section of Love Fridges that I can kind of keep doing sweeps around. And I think as it does start to snow more, that I've always been very good at shoveling, but I think about those locations, and we want to align with those hosts to understand what it takes to keep those, what support they may need to also keep those fridges accessible in this more inclement weather. So I'm talking a lot, but that's kind of how I got involved. That's what I find my general engagement is, and then I also, when I go grocery shopping, I like to pick up lots of extra things for the fridge. I like to pick up bags of beans and rice. I have aunts and uncles that send me gift cards, and so I use them to go out and buy diapers, and all sorts of products that I can stock them up. And I say thank you. It's great. People want to support this. We always encourage people to directly contribute to the fridges with food, with products. But if we do take donations, then I just quickly take them to the grocery store and go to town, and it'll be gone in an hour, and that's great. It's great. I was surprised, and I'm gonna wrap this up on one last thing. Is I've been on 21st Street for 12 years. I've been in my place for about 8 years. I know many of my neighbors, and I guess I was surprised to see which neighbors were using the fridge. I don't know that about them, that they may be someone who want access to free food. Growing up, that was never a concern of mine. That was my privilege. I'm never worried about food. Food's like a normal thing. You go to the grocery store and you buy it. Paper towels, all that stuff. It's just not something in my head that I think about ever being in need of. I'm hungry and I want food, but I've never been in need for it. So I mentioned we don't get vandalism. One time someone asked me, like, do you ever worry about someone stealing the food? I'm like, no one's stealing food. No one's taking the food for some need that they actually need food. And then that isn't stealing. That's taking food that they need. So I hated that I included that, because we have goofy interactions with people about the Love Fridges, but generally it's all incredibly positive. The neighbors are really supportive. My neighbors are very supportive. But as well, there are many neighbors who are actually using it, and I'm thrilled. And they express their gratitude, and I don't need the gratitude, but I know that I welcome any opportunity I can to talk to my neighbors, learn about my neighbors, learn about my community more. Even after 8 years, there's some people you see on the sidewalk, but you never learn their name. You maybe barely even earn a glance when you pass them, and that's changed. And that's something I really value about the Love Fridge and how it's impacted my neighborhood, my home, and my family. So what I would like to do is introduce some of the other fridge hosts, and we are going to start with Aracely. And Aracely, if you don't mind introducing yourself and maybe giving a rundown of your location and how you also got inspired to join to get involved with the Love Fridge.
Hey everyone, my name is Aracely and I live on the far southeast side of Chicago. I'm at the tail end of the city, as far east as you can go. And I actually found out about the Love Fridge on Instagram. I can't remember if I followed an account or somebody posted something, shared something. And I thought that this was a good idea. This is kind of probably around early summer. I had already been kind of confined to my house for a few months. I've been working from home, luckily. And I thought that it was a really good idea, in part because of, obviously with the closures, people are going to be losing jobs, incomes are going to be lower. People are going to start, the need obviously is going to grow as kind of things went on. So, and again, kind of like James, I didn't think too much about what would happen once I did it. I kind of just wanted to get the ball rolling because I figured And just like James and I live in a busy strip, and people drive by here all the time. I'm 2 blocks from Indiana. There's kind of like a Walmart and stores on the other side of me. So I figured I would get traffic from everywhere in the city, and I have. Like so many people from different areas of the South Side have stopped by, to either donate things or to pick things up, which I didn't really expect at this level. I didn't really expect the community to be as engaged. And when people kind of understood the purpose of the project, they're more than willing to give. I was telling Ramón the other day that I've had a couple of people ring my doorbell and like hand me cash as a donation that, I'm taking to go shopping just because they thought it was just such a great idea and they themselves understood. And, it's just unbelievably heartwarming that people are just on their way to the grocery store, just like, this is so great here, this is my donation to help out. I had a local artist who's amazing and who painted the fridge, and just kind of, it's given it kind of a different feel, very communal feel. So I feel like the community itself has taken ownership of it. And yeah, so, and just again, you're right, you don't know kind of what's going on in people's homes, again, because we've been so isolated for so long that we don't realize that our neighbors themselves might have been struggling. Somebody might have lost a job, et cetera, and they're kind of going through it. And there is this resource, that it's there whenever they need it, which is so impactful, which has been really great. And I just have to say also that just everyone on the team has been just amazing. I know I've worked a lot with Risa, and she's been wonderful. And I, been able to reach out to her for anything and just had questions or whatnot. And people have been so available. So I think that kind of seamless communication has also made this project, a success in this area. So I'm definitely really, really happy that, we were able to bring it. Because I was a little worried that, we weren't going to be able to get it. But once, kind of the ball started rolling, just kind of all the stars aligned. So it's been great. And I'm really, really happy. The community is really, really grateful for it.
Do you have fridge managers that also help keep up with the fridge?
We do not. So it's kind of, I've been doing it. My family kind of lives in the area, so they kind of help out when they drop things off and things like that. And it hasn't been bad. I mean, I don't mind it. I think it also gives me a chance. Honestly, I think if, I wasn't out there as much kind of checking on things, I probably wouldn't get a chance to really interact with people, which has been good because some people stop by donate and say, hey, I'm dropping this off, but do you need something else? Is there one specific thing that people are asking for? And we're able to kind of have that dialogue. And vice versa, I'm able to go out there and ask folks, is there something specific you were looking for that, isn't there that maybe we can get or that I can, ask for? So that dialogue is really important just to make sure that people have access to the food that they really need. Thinking about, folks who even just basic things like maybe lactose intolerant. So we have a different type of milk, or may need baby items, which, can be pricey. So it's just, again, and like you said, James, like now I go to the grocery store with a very different mindset because I'm like, well, I'm going to get what I need, but what else can I get for the fridge? Or if, if someone who might have small kids might, want a different type of cereal. So all of these things, you start kind of looking at it differently. And honestly, I feel like it makes me appreciate just the ability the privilege, right? To be able to do that and do so without thinking too much about it and be able to like give back in that way. So it's been different, definitely makes you very grateful in multiple ways.
Absolutely. Is there anything else about your setup? Something, I'm just going to go off the cuff here. So you've had this going since the summer and now you're about ready to go through the winter. Have you thought about what your plans are for the spring, for next year? I mean,
I would like to just keep it as long as possible, as long as there's a need. Like I'm happy to have it there. It's a little further down from my front door. It's covered, it's in a good space, people have access to it. So I mean, as long as there's a need and we can keep it and the fridge holds up, I'm happy to host it for as long as it's needed.
That's great. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like what I keep doing is playing with the pantry portion. Like I keep upgrading it or buying something that got deteriorated in the rain, and so I'm constantly tweaking that while I also look at how we can improve the other shelters as well. Yours is a great spot because you've got that overhang.
I have the overhang, but we had it kind of open, the pantry portion. There's a forest preserve right behind me. So we needed to get some enclosure because I have little friends were showing up in the middle of the night, and getting into stuff. So I'm like, okay, this isn't gonna work. So we had to get an enclosure, but also, I was actually thinking about this today, all of the things that you think about, like winter's coming, how to how do we give people quick access, right? Because I also don't want people to like stand around for 20 minutes in like 20-degree weather trying to find something. So it's a lot of it is in my mind when I go out there, it's like organizing things by like groups and making sure it's just easier if someone opens up the cabinet that they just can grab things what they need to grab and go, so they're not out there freezing or in the rain and things like that. So it's just all these little nuances that you think about as someone who's going to be again either dropping off or picking up items to make it as easy as possible for them.
That's great. Is there anything else you'd like to add before I move on to the next host?
I just like to say that, thanks again to everyone for putting this together. It's just been, I mean, it's been amazing. Like, I know I keep using that word, but it really has. And I think I'm very grateful for the work that was kind of put in on the back end, but also just, your continued support to the hosts as we kind of keep this going. So thank you guys.
I want to just have to thank you back. We'll just keep going in a cycle of thankfulness for reaching out and for engaging and for believing in this and manifesting it. It's happening. And thank you so much for doing that with us.
Yeah. Really want to thank you. Yeah, remember exactly when you reached out. I'm like, whoa, 10th Ward, South Chicago / East End. I got geeked, because it's like, whoa, these are areas that what came up in, and been thinking about like, wow, I didn't think somebody's gonna reach from there at that time so early too, so it was really nice. It was really just awesome that we could all like link that with you and that and to hear from Risa and you that you're constantly getting this flow and that, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Hey, I also want to offer up, I'm terrible at following the chat. If any questions have been posed in the chat, if anyone saw anything, I'd like to open up the floor for a second if they have questions for Aracely or in general, but we'll also answer some questions at the very end too.
I just want to welcome David here. Earlier when I was connecting Curtis with Taze over at Dill Pickle, she introduced David to us. So David will be working with him at Dill Pickle. He just greeted us. Just wanted to say hello to him.
Great. Hi. Eddie, you turned your camera off, but I'm actually going to come right at you right now. But maybe I'll just talk for a second. And if you're not back, I can move on. And we can talk to, we'll talk to Pastor Fitzpatrick over at the Stone Temple. Why don't you introduce yourself and let us know about your operation and how that's going?
Great. Hi, everybody. I'm Pastor Reshorna Fitzpatrick from Stone Temple Church. It's located at 3622 West Douglas. And the operation is going quite wonderfully. I learned about the Love Fridge. I was at a meeting in one of the organizations that I'm a part of, North London Coordinating Community Council. And Diara was there and she started to talk about the Love Fridge. And like even before she was completing her sentences and telling her spiel about the Love Fridge, my hand was up because she asked who would like to have one, who would like to be a host. And my hand went up. This was like early August. And within a week and a half, we had the Love Fridge at Stone Temple hosting. And I already knew that it was going to be a big hit because we were feeding, due to COVID, we were feeding weekly, maybe twice a week, boxes of food to individuals, and we were always running out. So I knew that the Love Fridge would be something that people would fall in love with in the community, would just rally around it. And James, like you, somebody asked me, well, what if somebody steals? But they weren't talking about the food, they were talking about the refrigerator. And I said, well, if they steal the refrigerator, I'm sure we'll just get another one. Like maybe they need it at their home. But it's just the things that people say because they're so accustomed to things happening. And I'm never thinking the worst. I'm always thinking that the best thing is always going to happen. And that is exactly what has been happening since August, the very best things. What makes me smile whenever I'm there, and I'm there most of during the week, 3-4 days a week, is when I see people walk by and they look at the fridge and it's beautifully painted by an artist by the name of Haley, painted the most beautiful picture. People look and they see a free food and their eyes get big and they walk over to the fridge and they open it up and it's full of food and they start to grab it and put it in their pockets. And now people, I watch them, they bring their bags like they're going grocery shopping. That is something that I love because I know that we're helping people and they're being blessed because we decided yes to the Love Fridge. So it's been, again, my word is amazing too, because somebody else said, I think it was Aracely said amazing. It's been amazing. Radius was here earlier this year and was being interviewed by Channel 9. And of course I was there. So I sneaked in the video, got my words in. And they've been showing clips of the Love Fridge on the news regularly. They just pop it in every now and then. We've gotten a lot of press about the Love Fridge, which is amazing again. So people are coming. What I also love is that people are dropping off food all the time from everywhere, from Pilsen, from someone came over the other day from Lincoln Park. Just they had seen an article in My Black Chicago, and they brought over food because they wanted to help. So we're always getting people coming in, dropping off food, and it's just working out wonderfully. And the refrigerator is still there, so nobody has stolen it. We were just given a cabinet to put our vegetables in. We had a table out there and that was working pretty well, but Dior says, hey, we have a cabinet. I said, bring it on. And they brought the cabinet. So now it's easier to find the items that you're looking for because they're open the cabinet and there they are. It's been going great. And one of the first things that really blessed me and almost brought me to tears were we were given a bunch of meat and we put it in the fridge, but there wasn't enough space. And so some guys on a block who are, I'll say semi-homeless because sometimes people let them stay in their homes, but they came over and they asked if they could have some of the meat because they wanted to barbecue. And man, I was so happy because they took the meat and they went across the street to the park and they barbecued the meat. That just brought me so much joy. And it's those kinds of stories that make me smile, make me happy, and make me glad I said yes to the Love Fridge because it blesses so many people in the community.
Pastor, I do want to say that if someone does steal that fridge, please let us know who so we can hire them for other fridge moves. That fridge is a tank. If they can get that going, I'd love to meet that person and pay them to do that. I really loved hearing that, and for anyone listening, for all of you, if you haven't been over to the Stone Temple, it's really, so I live on 21st Street. I'm in the Village, so I can walk over because I like to walk my dogs through the park, and I like to walk my dogs down Douglas Boulevard, which is a beautiful historic boulevard. And your church is beautiful.
Thank you.
And your yard, your garden area is also beautiful, which this bandshell thing behind you has been fun to watch getting built. And I'm really excited for what comes out of that, hopefully next year and post pandemic and everything. Is there anything else in your experience with the fridge that you'd like to share?
I just love the community side of it because I've seen people congregate like with masks and trying to be social distance, but just talking about what's in the fridge. They have the refrigerator open like they're at home and they're looking and they're passing things behind them to other people. It's just a place that is so community, and people who don't know each other. It's just like you were saying, James, people who don't know each other are getting to know each other now. I'm out there a lot, so I'm always speaking to everybody. But I think this is funny to me and it shocks me because when people come up and they see the fridge, it's like, it's free, the food is free. So they're shocked almost that it's free. So I'll laugh and say, absolutely free. Well, is it just, you could just take one? I say, no, you take what you need. And that's another thing that people don't often hear because oftentimes they see a sign plastered, please take one. But here, like whatever it is that you need, I have had a couple of people to complain, well, they take everything. They come every day. And I said, because people have to eat every day. It's like we should probably be eating 3 or 4 times a day, honestly. And I said, but you notice whenever the food is gone, there's a refill coming quickly. And that is one of the things that I think is so beautiful about it, that we're never empty. And, I don't know how it happens, but somebody always knows that it's time to fill the fridge and the fridge gets filled. And I like to watch it because I was there yesterday and they got all filled up. And as soon as it was all filled up, it was back on E again because people started to come. It's as if they are watching or they have people clocked and you don't know who's coming or how many people are coming. But that is the thing that really brings me joy, to know that people are coming, people are giving, people are taking, people are replenishing, and people are happy. They walk away with smiles.
Can I ask something really quick? Really
Yeah.
appreciate you so much. Like your vibration is awesome. When I was there that day, in that location, you told me something very powerful that actually inspired me so much about the location, specifically when you asked me to read the marquee there, and
Mhm.
it like it really it touched
Mhm.
me. Like
Mhm.
I gained a lot of power from that. So
Mhm.
I would appreciate if you just told us a little bit about that. What you told me, if you remember.
About Stone Temple
Stone
or
Temple, the civil rights situation, Martin Luther King.
oh,
That,
sure,
yeah,
sure, yeah. So
appreciate you.
yeah, so the church is a historical church. Dr. King was there in the 50s, early 60s, just to come there to talk about all the social injustices that we were experiencing, just not in Chicago, but all over. And that is one of the things that I like to see us like he was there, he had purpose. We're there, we have purpose, and we're trying to make sure that we lend our hand to in whatever area that we need. So we are there to make sure that we are standing strong, standing firm for each other, for Black and brown communities, for people who need, for whatever there is that is available, because we want to represent what's right. We want to do what's right. And so if giving food, if helping people with housing, if helping people with their issues, social issues, if helping people with mental illness, whatever it is that they need, we want to be there for people, because that's why I believe that the church was there in the first place, to be a pillar in the community. So we want to keep going the vibes that's already been there. I think I shared this with you too, Rady, is that it was a Jewish synagogue in the beginning. So a queen visited there, right, in 1926. And so then Dr. King. So I tell people, when you come to Stone Temple, you're coming to a place where there was a king and a queen there. So that's how we should live. That's how we should
Yep.
act. That's how we should behave, like we're kings and queens, because truly that's who we are.
Yep. I was always feeling that way. When you said that, I was like, oh man, there's so much
Yeah.
power. It was just so much, it was just like, I'm just grateful. Because when that news, they were like, pick the locations you wanted to. And I asked the group, but already definitely is in mind. And just powerful, you yourself, but that was just another level to it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm really excited that we get to have all this energy, this positive energy, and people get to see it and experience it when they're there, because it's something about the premises, it's something about that space that is so filled with just peace and love. And so it's the love fridge. It's like, yeah, I'm telling people, it's like the love boat, come on and just enjoy, have a great time. And people really do. So I'm appreciative for all that you do. You guys, this is phenomenal, and it's a true testament to. I got a call today from Chicago Tribune because they want to do another story. If like I have to do one more story on this love fridge, right? I'm gonna plaster it on my forehead, and I'm glad about it, right? Because people want to know, people want to hear, and I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to tell the stories. I'm going to let people know that this is something that really works in our community, and it helps. If I were a person in need of food, I would love to have a love fridge that I could go to, and no judgment, no condemnation, no feeling like you are somebody and you're beneath anybody else. No, because when I walk up there and I need an apple, guess what I do? I go get the apple.
Yes. Anybody want to sing the Love Boat? All right,
The love fridge. All the food that you'll ever need.
The Love Fridge theme song? What?
The fridge.
Uh-oh.
Love Fridge theme song? Wow.
We'll have to explore that further.
So thank you guys for what you do.
This is being recorded right now.
Right.
No, you're good. We're going to put that on tape. Real to real.
Pastor, thank you very much for sharing your story and for sharing your space, which obviously is the mission, is to share that space, and
absolutely,
and for helping facilitate all the food. And we're learning how to understand how much food is going through, but it's no small number when we say thousands and thousands of pounds of food is moving through all these fridges. And yes,
I want to thank Diara. Diara is wonderful. I love her. She is just amazing. So, darling, I want to just give a shout out to you, because you do what you do and you do it well. God bless you guys.
God bless you. Love you too.
All right, thank you so much. we're going to talk about Eddie's fridges. Eddie, I'm going to introduce him for a second. When we first learned about your fridges, you know, we had a term called the rogue fridge, and it was for people who were popping up rogue fridges. You know, like we're not the law on fridges, community fridges, but we just knew that we were an organization that was able to organize with each other to get them up and have an infrastructure to support them. But that anyone would start a community fridge was absolutely the goal of the dream. That it is possible. We're showing that it's possible, that anyone can do it. And we knew about one on the north side, and then we learned about the south side, the West Lawn rogue fridges. And Eddie, why don't you introduce yourself and let us know about them?
Awesome. Thank you so much, James. Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, I just want to, you know, huge shout out to Ramon and Risa and Manny, to everybody that's been involved. You know, it's been an incredible opportunity to, you know, to feed our neighbors. And one of the things that I could get back to the road fishes. One of the things that, you know, as part of the community, I've been here in West Lawn for 14 years, but my wife been here forever. You know, when I came in, I mean, I grew up in Brighton Park. So knowing, just knowing like just my upbringing, so I'm like, you know what, there's definitely, if I could give, you know, if I could do something, collaborate, and just really just pay it forward, I'm willing to do it, you know, at all costs. And so when I seen this idea, I seen it on Facebook. I saw Ramon's post, and it was just, and it was just out there like, wow, this is amazing. You know, community fridge, you know, feeding, you know, the community whenever they can. It's free. So it's like, wow. So I remember I reached out to them. I was like, hey, how can we get this in West Lawn? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. You know, and he was telling me that there was like a wait list, right? I'm like, oh, okay, perfect. So I'm like, man, you know what? And as for me, as a small business owner, I've been a local business owner for about 5 years, but I've been organizing as well, doing a lot of community events. So one of the things where I was like, man, you know what? I'm sure if we put it out there, get the community to be like, hey, who could donate a fridge to really expedite the process? We could get there. So I remember reaching out, and I had 2 people say, hey, I got a fridge. I'm like, perfect. And I had another, I think that was in Little Village. And there was another person that said, I got one here in West Lawn. And I knew her, and I'm like, man, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be set up real fast. So I told Ramon, hey, how can we do it? I have someone. He's like, hey, if you can set it up, if you could find an artist, you could do all that, make it happen. I'm like, perfect. So I collaborated with Danielle. She's a teacher and she's an artist. And when all I had to look is for a host, trust me. And I was knocking on almost every other door on a small business because, you know, I was telling them, hey, can you host outside, make it outdoors, make it accessible? And no one really was, you know, being receptive to it until we found somebody that they'll do it inside. I'm like, perfect, inside a small business on 59th and Keeler. So collaborate with Eduardo and Daniel with it. It's a little place called it's a nutritional little club place. So I was like, hey, let's make it happen. Yeah, and within a couple of weeks, it was there. It was up and ready to go, and it was, you know, it was such amazing to see the community come out. I created like a mini Facebook group just to keep the volunteers in there and everybody up to date what's going on, what's in the fridge. People could volunteer. And like I said, it's one of the things, you know, to see. It's a beautiful thing to see the community come together, donate. There were times where it was just completely stocked. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to wait, you know. We don't want it to overfill. And then they brought out some cabinets. So now they do a dry pantry in there as well. So it's been such a blessing. And it's one of the things that once the other neighbors that said, hey, I have a fridge, I communicated, I forgot who I was communicating with. And I'm like, hey, there's a fridge. Feel free to go pick it up. Cause I was like, hey, you know, if I can help also expedite the, you know, the fridges for the Love Fridge, it'll get everybody in there as well. So yeah, that worked out pretty good. But one of the things I started seeing, a lot of people, I was reading the comments, some people were saying because that small business on 59 and Keeler, they close certain odd hours, like they close at 2 p.m. and they open back at 5, and then they close at 8. So they're not really accessible at all times. So I was like, you know what, we're gonna have to look for another solution, another option. I mean, people's getting there all the time taking food. It's amazing, but there's also that few that can have access. So what we did was I reached out to Renato, he's a State Farm agent. He has his own office on 66 in Pulaski. He's like, yeah, I seen it. I'm like, wow. And I was like, hey, are you interested in being the host? He's like, absolutely. You know, here it is. Like, where do you want to put it? Like, let's do it on a sidewalk. And he's like, no, you put it between my property, the garage, and the building, and there you go. So that was just, I was just wowed by how fast that was able to happen. And also thanks James for setting the the plans to make that happen. And it was just like everything just aligned itself, from my brother-in-law being a carpenter to my friend being an electrician. We all really just put our hats together, make that whole process go together. And within like 2 weeks, and then another friend of mine is an artist, local artist from West Lawn, and just put everything together. So it's just a blessing to see really community come together for our neighbors, because yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't even think about it. Like with everything going on, like even through like when we started with the first one, I was mobilizing food pantries every week with different organizations, volunteering, doing pop-up events in the community, from census to just things where, what's needed in the community. So I knew it was a need. I seen those lines of people. It's like, and it's so heartbreaking when you go to the end and nobody can come away with something. So I knew that the Love Fridge is a great solution for it. Wouldn't be that big of a gathering, that much of a line, so people just go 24/7. So this the second option, which is called the Good Neighbor, kind of like State Farm, like a good neighbor, right? So it was like, hey, this is perfect, 24/7. I gives access to our neighbors, and people have been enjoying it. And again, thanks so much for donating the cabinet and the fridge. We picked it up from, I believe, from the storage, and was it Avondale or up in the north side? It's like, yeah, everything just came along, and I'm just so grateful for everybody, and just building a community, right? Talking to our neighbors, really seeing what's their need. There are times where I go to Costco and like, hey, get some gallons of milk, get some eggs. Some of the things were the priority things where neighbors need. But yeah, just getting those things done, it's very important because the need is actually there. So I'm just so grateful, so blessed with this opportunity to collaborate with such an amazing organization that just started out of nowhere. And that's what I love to do, just whatever I can do to facilitate and just to bring some ideas. I'm also thinking about adding a hand sanitizer dispenser on the side of the fridge, because yeah, when people come, it's like, who's grabbing. So just to keep everybody safe. But, again, it's thank you everybody for, tuning in, and for everybody's leadership. This wouldn't be possible with the amazing people behind the scenes. So greatly appreciative of everybody's, opportunities.
Awesome. Thank you, Eddie. If you don't mind, do you mind talking about the I don't want to put you on the spot like this, but the streets and sanitation citation?
Oh, yes. Yeah, so that just happened out of nowhere. Just the other day, it was Monday. They just, they were right there. They left a warning, a citation warning, saying it needs to have a child lock, which is okay. I had never seen that, so I put on the channel that anybody's seen that. So it was one of the things where like, okay, because it was unsafe, and yeah, I get it. So yeah, it was just one of the things, because how the fridge is where it's located, so on 66 Street, you really had to make a right and go in there. So it was kind of strange. I don't know if it was somebody that called it in or anything like that, but I mean, the community knows what's going on, so I don't know what dawned of that. But I mean, we took care of it. Thanks to recommendations to a couple people. We took care of it. But I actually talked to the host, Renato. He was the one that, that's his location. And when I got the text, he's like, I was looking at him, like, oh, what happened? He was like, hey, text me when you can. So I was just like freaking out. Like, okay, what's gonna happen? So, but yeah, I talked to the alderman who actually, and so West Lawn is divided between two wards, the 23 ward and 13 ward. So I was able to speak to alderman of 13 ward. We have a great relationship. And he was like, hey, don't worry about it. It was just probably, I was talking to street and sanitation. But yeah, we took care of that. And hopefully not, there's no other surprises.
Awesome. And so that's an element I wanted to share too, is that like, that we trying to understand our relationship in our communities, but also the relationship with the city. And that's why we kind of lean towards having the fridge more on a private property, which, you know, like we're talking about is like the, you know, the spaces between our garage and our homes, for example, that are facing the sidewalk. People are on the sidewalk and they're walking up to the fridge without issue. But if the city had anything to say, I'd tell them to screw off because it's on my property. At the same time, we have had a lot of good press, and we do have a lot of support with our aldermen, and maybe also, you know, when we talk about engaging our community, an element of that might be reaching out to our aldermen to let them know what's going on, or to see if they also want to throw in their support with this, or even just reaching out to them if we had an issue with something, which Eddie was able to do, and that was really, that was terrific, you know, that the alderman was supportive, and that issue became a non-issue. The child safety lock is an interesting one, and those are ways we're trying to explore and understand more what we need to keep this sustainable.
Absolutely. You know, and so where we put it, like I said, we are planning to put another one on there. I just had a neighbor just comment on he is wheelchair bound, so he also said like it's going to be hard for anybody with the wheelchair to have access to. So like I said, those problems, you know, saying like, okay, wow, that opened my eyes to that option. So I was talking to the host, I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to find another option because in between of the fridge's doors, it's kind of hard to place something. So we're looking for an option for it could be much, you know, much accessible to anybody.
Yeah, let us know about that. That's interesting. That we need to learn more about that.
Absolutely, we're learning as we're growing.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Big ups, Eddie. Every time. Like I was telling them, man, like in the beginning, because when I was first placing stuff on the Facebook and it was getting a lot of shares, like crazy shares, and you hit me up, and I'm like, man, Eddie be hitting me up late, like 11, 12, like let's make it work. And I'm like, let's make it work. You know, it's just just to say you've always been really consistent, man, and checking in and just building with the community. It's essential that you go to your community, you bring it in. We go talk to us, bring it to you. It's like that's exactly what we all like, that true solidarity, that true community circle vibe. So respect.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ramon, for everything you have doing, and thanks for answering my message. I mean, that's like the time that my messages have not, you know, been responsive like that. So hey, you know, I have time to do things.
You good, man. I'll be up 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Sometimes I sleep maybe 2, 3, 4 hours. We be texting 3, and you know we don't sleep much, so it's all good. Thank you.
No, absolutely. And I'm also excited to help you guys with the fundraiser. So hopefully that, you know, very soon, because I like to, you know, give, you know, and just one of the things where we could, you know, what we could do to, you know, impact more communities, right? More locations, more fridges, and we all know that this all takes money, and so it's definitely a blessing.
Thank you so much. And I see Ed in the room from Marz Brewery. I wasn't sure if you're going to make it, so we're thrilled to see you, Ed. Would you mind talking about the Love Fridge and Marz Brewery?
Yeah, hey, thanks so much for inviting me to the town hall. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I was having some meetings and went longer than I anticipated. But, you know, we just got to say that we're really glad that you guys invited us to take part of the program. We're really excited that actually it's being used a lot by the people who actually work in that central manufacturing district. Like it's feeding people who actually work across the street or down the block. And they know they go there at lunch, they go there after work. It's constantly being utilized. And of course, being able to put some of our meals that we do for the community kitchen in there, it's been great. And then recently, of course, hooking up with you to provide meals to be put in the fridges all over the place is awesome. So that kind of synergy, that kind of like collaboration is really what it's all about for us. And I just love how effortless and how great your team is, and how organized and how easy it is to just make a phone call and go, yo, we have XYZ here. If you want it, come and get it. And then, of course, through working with you, we learned maybe it's best to start making meals that aren't necessarily cooked just hot to be served hot. So one of the kitchens that we work with, the Donorman and Wherewithal, we're making some meals that you could actually, that are intended to be brought home and reheated or prepared at home. So we might be working on more stuff like that. So, and then of course, we're doing the love beer, right? The love ale. What is it called, Lisa? What do we? I don't even remember. It's
Love Brew.
The love brew. So that's really cool. So that's like a really great way of making like a micro fundraiser of sorts. Like, you know, $1 for every 4-pack we sell is going to go to you guys to provide some funds for whatever logistical things you need. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, like, you guys need some coin, you just let me know if you need money for whatever, we'll find some money for you for whatever logistics, paying people's gas, whatever the heck it is. Just count on us whenever there's a call for funds.
Pick up,
you know, but I just
respect.
seeing this kind of citywide, whatever, more than Chicago-wide project is like the most beautiful thing that's happened out of this pandemic, right? To see how people can get together and do shit on their own is beautiful. Whether you work with the city or your alderman or all these crazy people or average business, it brings people together to do something that's needed and address something that's easy to forget. So thank you for letting us participate with you. It's quite an honor. So thank you so much. And hit me up if you guys need stuff. I think we're trying to arrange to make sure everyone gets some beer and CBD products. So I don't know who the hell's doing that, but let me know.
Wait. I'm in Brooklyn. I'll be back and forth, but how can I get a case of that Love Brew?
Absolutely.
I want a Love Brew song too from somebody. What's up with that Love Brew song?
Oh yeah. Oh, good point. Maybe we'll wait till the Love Brew comes out so we put that out for all the participants, right? What do you think about that? As opposed to just random shit. Make sure everyone gets the Love Brew. Okay.
Pretty cool.
All right. Well, I won't forget.
I'll take beer.
And
Whatever it is. Okay. But yeah. But thank you for wanting to collaborate and do stuff. And really, it's great. I love this society that we live in. I love this world that we can create together. I mean,
yes.
Obviously, we know that we could do whatever we can to make things better for people, and we will, right?
Yeah.
And everyone here knows that. Everybody knows they could do it together. So that's the best thing that's happened out of this pandemic.
Big up, Ed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's Ed, like of Marz Brewing, of Maria's, where I've been drinking for too long now, and Kimsky, and but then also the Coke Prosperity Sphere and Public Media Institute. I don't mean to list this off, but I mean,
yes,
I've been in Pilsen, Bridgeport adjacent for 20 years now, and all these things are just really exciting. So Ed, it's thrilling to see you partner up with us with this. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Whatever you want to do, whenever, just hit us up. We're down. We're your partners forever.
And just to say that the time when James was organizing Fridge number 1, we were simultaneously organizing the Marz Fridge. So it was like we were moving and he was getting that together. So it came
an OG fridge
right after that. It's an OG. It's the first fridge that got painted. Yams painted. The first fridge that got painted was the Marz Fridge. The first fridge up was James. Right immediately after was Marz that got painted. And once that fridge got painted, that was like a lot of people were like, I want to paint and get down, and how do we do this? So it accelerated, and those the first two fridges really initially. So that's in a month.
Well, I got a suggestion for you guys. I know you don't even want to do this.
No, we take suggestions, or we listen to them.
You're gonna have to make a publication about this project, about how to start this network in your own town. You have great imagery. You have interviews you interview all the participants, and just a how-to guide. Like here,
Ed,
it's like a simple how to fix your city or how to contribute to your city. But you should make a publication, make a free PDF or whatever you want. But you definitely should make a thing that you could hand out to people.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Ed, you're reading my mind, mate. I'm building a deck to talk to you about. I love this. I love this. We got to talk soon. That's why I'm literally building a deck to speak to you about and other members of this crew. I love you, man. I appreciate everything you all do.
Hey, I'm just doing what everyone's doing. We're all doing the same shit. I just have a big mouth.
And I appreciate all of you. I said all,
Right
but I
on.
don't get to see you much. So I got to give you your flowers, mate. You make tons of bread. And I mean that bread, you help feed. So right now I'm giving you your shine and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Manny. Well, you let me know what I could do for that. Obviously, you know, I love printing stuff, so I'm in. But yeah, I mean, the beautiful images of the refrigerators, explaining the networks, explaining how you create a kind of like, you know, whatever crowdsourced community group, ad hoc thing that's weird, horizontal, and like, how do you coordinate that? Like, those are things people don't know about. It is really hard to get people together. It is incredibly difficult to coordinate volunteers.
True.
It is so hard to do what you're doing that you need to explain how you did it, because it ain't easy.
At the core, I just gonna say this, is the practice. That's the publication, is the practice of mutual aid. What that means from everyone's perspective, giving them all opportunity to share, because that's how this is. It's all of us and so many people. And the only way to present that properly is to do it that way, is to give people that space and time to share that aspect and the fact that it's a practice, and to build a map so we can all see each other.
It's a global map as well. You know, like I said, some of these foundation roots is from me being out here in New York and seeing what In Our Hearts was doing and Friendly Fridge and like some of the guidelines on how to get things started, and then what the LA community was doing. And we all have conversations. And the plan is to have more conversations with them, like collectively, like to use IG Live or some sort of conversations we could have to the other communities everywhere, because a lot of movements it's really going. So it's nice to get more perspective and build with more people about this, because we don't have the answers. This is an ongoing experiment and experience, I like to say, because we all don't have the answers, and we can continue to amplify and build this together. It's just gonna be more and more beautiful and help more people together.
All right. Well, so what I'd like to do is take any questions that we might have. And what I'm going to start with is the first one, which is the winterizing. And then if anyone wants to kind of drop any questions in the chat or speak aloud in a minute, that's fine. I'm again acknowledging that I'm terrible with the chat, so I'm not reading the questions as they may have happened throughout the session. Regarding winterizing, for the most part, we're direct. You know, now that we're regularly below 32 degrees, we're advising people to unplug the fridges, and because they don't need to run, and it may be detrimental to be running in this temperature. I intend to actually keep mine up and running. I'm doing an experiment at my location where I actually have a heating element that I'm going to keep in the fridge so that it keeps the inside up to 32 degrees. So I'm heating this insulated box. It's an experiment, but the objective is, you know, we're not overly worried about food freezing too much, because as we're all talking about, the food goes so fast that you know, it's not like a gallon of milk is going to freeze in the fridge. Someone's going to take it pretty quickly. The produce might get frozen, but it's still perfectly edible. But yeah, so but another element is, so now that we're unplugging the fridges, we're kind of losing the light, and so we're exploring what it is to maybe light up these fridges, because that'll make them charming and beautiful, I think, if we did like Christmas string lights or something. But then also maybe get a lighting element in the pantries. Now makes it a bit more inviting. These longer nights, you know, are just that much tougher to kind of navigate those deep cabinets that some of us have. So we're exploring that with winterizing. Is there anything I missed, group, regarding the winterizing efforts? I'm getting a bunch of, all right. So I covered it all, I suppose. Are there any other questions that anyone would like to ask? Yes,
James, we could go back with our PDFs and the like as well. Like if people want the winterized, we have winterized strategy book, like system. So we don't have to try to remember everything on site. So we can link that maybe in the chat.
Oh, what we can also do is post it to our stories and include the link to it. But yeah, we'll if anyone wants to drop it in the chat, absolutely. We'll have it available as a resource on our Slack and maybe on our website. I'm saying that now, I'm just saying that without accountability to who's going to do it. but
I got you.
Well,
I got you.
but we'll absolutely include it in the Instagram. Are there any other questions? I see. We'd love to get involved. What are you doing? How should I reach out? You can go to the loveridge chicago.com, and we have a volunteer sign up, and there's some resources there. You can check out how to get involved. You can join the Slack and meet the various teams. Like there's team building, there's team distribution, there's team movers, and so there's different ways you can help. Some people are really just interested in moving food around. Some people have vans that are great for moving the fridges. Some of us have tools, are able to go on site for any kind of spot repair or to help build shelters. Shelter building, which I think will pick up steam more in the spring. We're kind of focused on keeping the fridges that we do have well supported to make it through the winter, and then we'll get back to building more shelters.
And if you've reached out before and we haven't gotten back to you, no disrespect, we get a lot of emails, a lot of IG, Facebook, personal calls. So it's not intentional. So with all due respect, try us again. And if anyone stood out here you would like to talk to directly, you can attention any of us, or we can DM like what was stated there.
And to that point, as a reminder, we're a mutual aid group. We're a bunch of volunteers. A lot of us are wingnuts. And we're doing the best that we can, and we really truly appreciate everyone's support. I really want to say thank you to everyone who's joined today's session to hear us out, to learn more about hosting process and to learn more about the Love Ridge. I feel strengthened to know that not just in my own local neighborhood community, but in the city of Chicago, and then everyone else engaged by food apartheid, food insecurity, that everyone is wanting to learn more and support each other. And I try to work with that behind me, and I try to use that to bolster up and support my colleagues in this group as well, and anyone else. Pastor Fitzpatrick, I'm proud to be in a network that includes you. I'm honored. And Eddie, my neighbor, also sharing in this effort to feed our communities, and Aracely too, like a home host. It's real stuff. And so everyone, I think I'm making closing remarks unless there's anyone else who wants to interject with something before I say thank you. And oh, here we go. We have a question regarding materials in other languages, and we do work to get most of our materials out. When I say most, we want everything to be translated into Spanish, absolutely. And now we're also we finally have access to qualified translation for Mandarin, and so absolutely we want all of our materials to be accessible and readable in any languages available. But it's about getting access to qualified translations. But I don't think we want to leave it to Google Translate for how important it is what we're trying to share to everyone. If that answers your question, Velma. But do you think about stuff? So I have a question. Do we need to think about salt and stuff for digging fridges out and keeping the areas around them ice free? So I know as a home host, I will be shoveling my sidewalk as normal as I ever do. And that also means keeping the snow clear from in front of the fridge. And then, I'll probably get my broom and sweep out any crevices, but I'm not too worried about ice building up on the fridge because there's enough traffic where ice probably won't actually form to keep the thing shut. That'd be serious ice. And the way my fridge, all the fridges have like little roofs on them. So like general accumulation won't happen. But if the wind is whipping, cold rain, and then that could cause freezing, but I'm not overly concerned about that. Yeah, it's sort of like the way you're worried about like your own front door getting iced up, but that could happen. And so we fortunately we have fridge managers who are most of our fridges are probably being visited daily by someone, a volunteer who can report back to us if there is an issue, and we try to act on that as fast as possible.
I saw some things that are going around here in New York online where they have they put out calls for volunteers to help shovel and things like that. And There was some sort of incentive related to it as well. That's still within the lines of volunteering, bartering, and vibing, like mutual aid vibrations. So that's probably something that we can look into possibly as well. And I want to also add, as we round things up, other things that we're focusing on is mini fridges and getting them to families in need, stocked with food, and also investing in Black, Brown, Indigenous farmers. And well, really now with the weather changes, restaurants and chefs, so that we can help them to sustain their liberty of restaurant and livelihood, but also to bring that food into the fridges so people can have more variety of prepared food to eat. And that's two of the things that we're focusing on at this moment, just to add that in as we round things up.
I also want to tackle another question. If we were going to be expanding into the suburbs or for just the city,
Okay.
yes, any community that wants a fridge, we want our fridge there. We want to support anyone who wants to put up a fridge in their communities. And I feel like in the early days, we even heard from like someone in Forest Park, perhaps, and we're talking to someone in Rogers Park. Rogers Park is not a suburb, but that gets us really close to like Evanston, Skokie, and Niles. And those all have communities with people who would benefit from having a fridge. And so while we're all city oriented just because we live in this city, we would love to learn from anyone. We'd like to hear from anyone in any community, whether it's in the suburbs, whether it's in another state. If we can just talk to them, as Ed talked about, how do we share our resources about what it takes to start up and to build up? Absolutely, we'd love fridges to be international, but community fridges are already international, and I'm sustained by that.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm seeing someone. Okay, so here's one. Is it quite expensive to run the fridge? No. I feel like, it's plugging in an appliance, and I'm trying to remember, but I feel like most appliances these days come with this weird number on it that actually talks about how much it costs to run a month. And I feel like fridges aren't even $20 a month to run a fridge. And I mean, I know it sounds like $120 a year, but as far as like a monthly expense of running that with your power, it's not very significant. And earlier there was mention of a wait list to get a fridge, and that's what it was a wait list to get a fridge, because it's not a wait list to be in the Love Fridge. Like, get a fridge going, bam, you got a community fridge, and we'd love to include you in our network if you want to be included in that. But at the time, we didn't have the wealth of fridges, and that was the thing. And no one, I think, would have to buy a fridge to participate. No one has to buy a fridge to participate. But it's about coordinating donated fridges to certain locations. And that's, that's an element of participating in the program is if you have access to a fridge, or if you have a host location, but you need a fridge, we can talk about what it takes to get you a fridge. I bet we could go on Instagram and say, hey, who wants to donate a fridge? And nowadays we might regret that, and have too many fridges and to know what to do with. But that's an element of it.
Yeah, we get emails and inboxes for that now. Back in the early times, putting out outreach for that was not easy at first. And also then the next wave of that was like, how do we coordinate getting these? Who can jump down and get together and get this fridge from Rogers Park to Hyde Park or wherever it was? That's another thing about this. A lot of these fridges come from one community to the next community. And so that was hard earlier. So when there was a waiting situation, it was like, we're trying to coordinate, we're trying to build our infrastructure at the same time, our core of to go and help to make this happen and get enough volunteers to make it happen. So now it's different now. So.
All right. Rob is a sanctuary. Please reach out to us on social media or via email. We'd love to get hooked up to understand what it takes to get a fridge running for you. I have no idea where the questions are. Maybe what we can do is also continue this on social media. We can continue this in the Slack group. And I want to thank everyone Do you work with appliance stores like ABT? No, we haven't had that connection yet. It just hasn't occurred.
Is that the one that's out by like
At is what I should have said. At.
Bernie? Yeah, we had a contact.
We did? Oh.
Yeah, we did real early. And we connected. I forgot dude's name. We talked a few times, but then he didn't follow up because he was like, all right, we can flip the fridges and help you get them. I mean, I could reach out to him again, but that was a while ago and a couple times, you know.
Oh, right, because when they deliver fridges, they get the old ones.
Yeah. Because ComEd had that in the very beginning. When I was reaching out on Craigslist, I was reaching out to that ComEd program, and they ended theirs like right before. But then that ABT hit us up, but I don't know. I tried talking with dude, and he's actually from here and moved to Chicago, like same time I moved here. I don't know, something like that, but I don't know. I haven't heard from him in a while.
We can follow up when we're finally ready to get more fridges at that volume.
I don't need no fridges.
All right. What's that, Eric?
Oh, before we left, I just want to thank you all for the Inglewood one, but also shout out to if anybody's looking to help the 63rd Street one, ever since we put the signage up, we can't keep it filled. So it's me, it is the Getting Grown Collective, it is community members. Like every day, new goods just pop up. But ever since we had the sign up, everyone realizes free food. We didn't realize how hard it's going to be to keep that refrigerator filled. So if anybody wants to come by 63rd and Morgan, we would appreciate the help.
Can I say something to Eric? Eric, thank you for all the help, mate. Thank you. Thank you. Eddie, I would love for you to have some time with Eric. There's some ideas that you mentioned that he helped with some grad students develop this summer. We've done some like quality of life stuff that we just weren't ready yet. We've grown so fast, and the immediacy and the urgency of getting food out has taken precedence over like just like having things be always optimal from a design standpoint. But we're always thinking that way. And I really appreciate all the work that Eric's done. And I want to get everyone
yeah,
talk to each other. Like
absolutely. I look forward to it.
That Taino fridge in Hyde Park was a heart one. It was like a serious vibe, you know, for me. Like
we ain't done.
Huh?
We ain't done.
I know we not done. Come on. But I'm just really happy that it found that home. You know what I mean? Like it's over there. It's just it's beautiful. And so big up, man. Bless up with that mess going on.
Beautiful structures. Beautiful structures. And shout out to Rage.
A mezcal.
All right. Well then, Ramon, do you want to close us out?
Everybody, thanks for joining us. We are grateful for you here. This is a love movement. Much love and respect and gratitude. Full circle vibration. Your time and energy is wonderful. All the hosts. We all signing together because of you all. Because of everybody. It's a community thing, unity thing. So giving thanks and see you next month. Everybody have a wonderful evening. And that's pretty much all I got to say. I don't know what else to say.
Thank you. Love you guys. Good night.
Anybody want to sing before we go out?
Thank you, everybody.
Why don't we do that outro, the song, the music outro?
What we got? I don't remember that.
He had something queued up. He had something.
Oh yeah, I thought music was. That's right.
The love fridge. Soon we'll be filling our bellies up. The love fridge.
Man, who's singing? I can't even see it.
That's Pastor Reshorna.
No, I didn't sing it the first time.
No, that's somebody else.
The first time, who's singing it now?
It's Diane.
It's Diane.
Diane, you're the song user.
Oh,
Diane is a rock star too. Diane be up in there.
Yeah, you guys are my favorite people. I'm super excited to everything that's going on. I'm all about that love fridge song too.
At the studio. Let's make it happen. All right.
Yeah.
I'm so glad Ed joined us though.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Have a good night. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Ah, you're all fabulous. Thank you.
Everybody. Bye, dear.
Bye. It's good to see everybody's faces.
Bye.
All right.
Happy holidays.
Much love.
Happy holidays.